Okay guys, I'm back again, this time with a quick review on the Rayovac 8 LED party lantern. Like the name implies, this little lantern was originally intended to be used mainly as a decorative item for parties, nightly events, things of that nature. But it can still be used as an emergency item as can any other light. It's relatively small and again has a very unique shape. It reminds me every time I look at it of an ostrich egg. It just has that overall shape, and it's a nice change to the typical cylindrical or square-shaped mini lanterns. As far as some of the specs, you have a overall height of 4.3 inches, a width of 3.1, an unloaded weight of 1.6 ounces, and 5.6 ounces is going to be the weight with the required 3 AA batteries. You can use either disposables or rechargeable batteries. I've chosen to use rechargeables with my testing as well as the current batteries that are in here now, simply because they give me a more uniform output, and also I can compare that with other emergency items because I pretty much use the same items in all of my the same batteries in all of my reviews. The manufacturer claims up to 144 hours worth of battery life, which usually when I test items like this is a far off claim, but I've actually gotten pretty close to that with the rechargeable batteries that I've used. I'll go over my results later on in the review. So it features a tough plastic construction. You have sort of a two-tone design. You have the upper globe section made out of a clear textured plastic. It's textured so that you have a more uniform output and it's not as harsh to look at. The bottom section features a painted glossy section. It's a little slick, but it looks pretty nice. You have a single power button here which controls 3 functions. You have the standard white output, white and red, as well as a color changing output. None of the modes are programmed, it's all pre-configured. You just hit the button and it does its own thing. It has a flat bottom base, so it allows it to stand up. The base includes a strong magnet as well as a hanging hook. Now, as far as the functions, let me go ahead and take the globe off here and give you a close-up. The 3 LEDs function by having the first mode use 4 white LEDs. The second mode keeps the white LEDs on and adds 3 red LEDs. I believe the function of this is to give you a warmer output. It sort of mixes and gives you a much warmer output than the harsh bluish output of the white LEDs. And then you have the single color changing LED, which is mounted a little bit higher. Of course, it's going to be the lowest output as far as power mode, so they mounted a little bit higher in the case so that it spreads a little bit better. Speaking of spreading, this device does not spread its light output that well. Number one, it begins by only putting out right around 15 lumens, and if you look that up, you're not going to find that figure anywhere because Rayovac has not provided any lumen output figures for any of the modes. But as far as other items I've tested, I compared directly to this, it's putting out right around 15 lumens to my eyes. One of the reasons, besides the low lumen output, is going to be the design of the actual globe. In other small portable carry style lanterns, they mostly have a cone shaped reflector right smack dab in the middle of the globe so that it can spread its light sideways more so than up. This guy doesn't have that, so you have the issue of lighting up your ceiling but only being able to light around 2 or 3 feet around the actual lantern itself. So if you're using this for a specific task, you're definitely going to want to have it close to you. Even then, it's not very bright. This would probably best be suited as a backup or secondary lantern to your main one. Now, another thing or another issue that I have with it, and this is probably one of 2 big issues, is going to be the battery compartment. Externally, you don't have a battery compartment. You actually have to take it apart like this to access it, and it's located directly under the LEDs. Now I mentioned earlier that this main LED, the color changing LED, is mounted a little bit higher so that it has a brighter output. What I found is that if you change the batteries and you're not careful, you can actually bend this LED and bend it out of alignment, and the light output will be off to one side. I've done that a couple of times, but luckily enough I was able to bend it back into position after checking a couple of times in order to get the right output. The other issue is once you actually open it up and you have this little tab here to open, you notice it's a little flimsy. This back section kind of shakes around, waddles around a bit. You have the wiring for the actual LEDs coming out here, and it just doesn't feel very secure. Also, when placing the compartment back in the closed position, it just is a little difficult. So that's one of my main gripes with the unit. As far as how this unit performs, again, not very bright. I did test it in my basement as well as a few other rooms. In the basement, I actually folded a load of towels, and again, it only lit up around 2 or 3 feet around from where I was working, but since it shoots as light directly up, I had it in a hanging position because I have a hanging hook directly over my dryer that's connected to a clothesline. It actually directed enough light down for me to be able to see everything, but again, didn't spread very far. I also tested it on my HVAC vents. I forgot exactly what you call it. I was thinking of HVAC and kind of jumbled that up, but it stuck to the metal vents just fine. It was a very secure mount. The magnet felt very strong. In fact, it offered a little resistance when I actually tried to pull it down. I also have a small metal piece over the landing at the bottom of my basement stairs, and again, the magnet felt nice and strong holding on to that. Where it did not feel strong was when I mounted it to the side of my refrigerator. The refrigerator has a painted surface, and that must be an issue for this magnet because it has a slick surface of its own. And what I found is that it would stick for a second and then slide down. So as far as putting this on a painted surface or your refrigerator, you're definitely going to want to either just set it on top or mount it vertically because the magnet will not hold it in place. So to sum up everything, my overall likes are going to be the battery life on this device. Provided up to 144 hours according to the manufacturer. What I found is it provides more or less right around 5 days of output. The first 3 or 4 are going to be pretty bright, and it slowly tapers off from that. Again, I'm using rechargeable batteries, so your mileage may vary. You may be able to get more battery life with premium disposable batteries. I also like the unique design. Just an ostrich egg shaped device, sort of a conversation starter. It just doesn't look like anything else on the market. It also has a pretty low weight, again loaded up with 3 AA batteries. On my postage scale, it comes in at 5.6 ounces, so this will be a great camping item, something you can throw in a backpack and not have to worry about weighing you down. It also has a versatile design. I've never seen another lantern that has so many mounting options. You can set it down on a table, you can hang it from the carry hook or the hanging hook, and you also have the option to mount it to a metal surface with the magnet. As far as issues, the main one is going to be that battery compartment. I just can't get over how flimsy it feels. It's just not a great feeling. I don't like it. But it's something I'm willing to deal with as long as nothing breaks. The other issue is going to be the slickness of the actual base itself. Let me put it back together here and show you what I mean. The base has a shiny plastic surface, and the power button is located sort of a little bit below the top of that painted surface. So when you hold it in one hand and try to hit the power button, you're actually squeezing it out. And I've dropped this lantern probably a dozen times simply by trying to turn it on, slightly sweaty hands, and sure enough, it just plops right out of your hands. Another issue is going to be that it's just not powerful enough to be your primary lantern. Again, right around 15 lumens, so this would be best suited for a backup or secondary lantern or as a nightlight. Besides that, I really like the lantern, especially the battery life. I find that in an emergency situation, most cases with a widespread power outage, you're not going to be able to find batteries on store shelves, so having the ability to run for days and days. And when I mention my battery life of 4 or 5 days, that's continuous without turning it off. If you use it intermittently, you're definitely going to get more days out of that, probably well over a week. So having the ability to run for a long time is a definite plus. So guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. As always, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Peace.